Okay lah, as long as it lasts, we'll see. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wa mursalin. Sayyidina Maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Beloved seekers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillah, this will be our first meeting lah in the month of Ramadan. Okay, before we begin, let's begin with our intention. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I intend to be a humble servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to commit to the work of healing myself all around me and to the earth, to draw strength of peace, mercy, compassion, and love from all states of ibadah, wajib, and sunnah, to clarify my soul, mind, and body by observing this intention and the act of dhikr in every breath that I have been given. I seek blessings, guidance, and protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and those who make this intention with me. هذا نصلي على حضرة النبي المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم ثم إلى أزواجه وذريته وأهل بيته وأصحابه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بالإحسان إلى يوم الدين الشهداء والصالحين وآئمة راشدين ثم إلى جميع مشايخنا في السلسلة القادرية الششتية النقشبندية سهروردية سنوسية، خصوصا إلى روح شيخنا شيخ الإسلام الكتب رباني وغوث ثمداني المحبوب سبحاني كندل النوراني سيد محين الدين الشيخ عبد القادر الجيلاني الحسين الحسيني قدس الله سره العزيز خاصة، ثم إلى روح حسن سنجري هند الولي طه رسول خواجة معين الدين چشتي قدس الله سره العزيز خاصة، ثم إلى روحي شيخ أبو نجيب سهروردي قدس الله سره العزيز خاصة، ثم إلى روحي خواجة بهاء الدين النقشبندي قدس الله سره العزيز خاصة، ثم إلى روحي شيخ سيد أحمد شريف السنوسي قدس الله سره العزيز خاصة، ثم إلى هادنا ومولانا ومرشدنا قد عالم خضر طريقة المعرفة خاجا حضر الحاج خواجة حبيب الله شاه چشتي القادرية نقشبندية سهروردية سنوسية والسلاسل أربعين قدس الله سره العزيز خاصة، ثم إلى روح هادنا مولانا مرشدنا نائب قطب عالم عاشق رسول عارف بالله خضر خواجة وجه الله شاه چشتي القادرية نقشبندية سهروردية سنوسية وخليفة سلاسل أربعين قدس الله سره العزيز خاصة، ثم إلى هادنا مولانا مرشدنا نائب قطب عالم عاشق رسول عارف بالله خضر خواجة أنوار الله شاه چشتي القادرية نقشبندية سهروردية سنوسية وخليفة سلاسل أربعين مد ذله العالي ودم فيضه المتوالي، ثم إلى هادنا مولانا مرشدنا نائب قطب عالم عاشق رسول عارف بالله خضر خواجة كليم الله شاه چشتي القادرية نقشبندية سهروردية سنوسية وخليفي سلاسل 40 قدس الله سره العزيز خاصة. ثم إلى جميع خلفاء مردين ومحبين في هذا السلسلة مباركة. ثم إلى جميع أرواح الصوفية من مشارق الأرض إلى مغاربها. ثم إلى جميع أرواح ثم إلى جميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات شيئا لله لهم الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Alhamdulillah. Summa alhamdulillah, our gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having able us to be here in a state of good health and iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our iman and our taqwa until our very last days. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. So we're here on this morning of Ramadan to be reciting the spiritual message of Islam. And the whole intention of this is something that has been practiced by many learned people, ulama, awliya. They would gather, they would recite a kitab, and then for many reasons. One is to listen, tasmi'. So one of the main principles of learning is to listen. Number two, we recite to achieve the barakah, to achieve the blessings. So usually after that we'll make a bit of dua, etc. Intercede through the blessings of the book, because we believe kitabs carry blessings, especially with this. Also to receive and to revisit the teachings of the Shaykh, so that we do not lose our focus on why we're here and to seek the knowledge as well. And to preserve this, that's the other reason, so that the teachings of the Shaykh is preserved. So the more people listen to it over and over and over again, it becomes part of themselves, and is something that can be handed down and from one generation to another generation. Now, the book that we have called The Spiritual Message of Islam was first printed or published in 1966. Okay. And later we'll read why did Khaja Habibullah Shah Qaddasallahu Sirrul Aziz write this very small but very impactful book. A very small but very impactful book. For the normal reader, reading this book might be okay. But when a person who has the knowledge of Ma'rifah, when they read it, they go like, this book can be made into volumes of works, because it is based on many kitabs and he condensed it and he delivered it. So it shows his focus as a guide, as a murshid. And the fact that no one has done it after that is still preserved as it is until today. So it shows the rank of the kitab, the blessings of the kitab, and the content of the kitab, the depth of it, mashallah. Okay, so we'll go through that, inshallah, the book. And the book has been republished again. Can I borrow that? Many years later. And this is the new cover that you see. I think most of you have this one, right? Yeah, that one. And there is this one. So this is the first print by the Sheikh himself, and it's published in Chintabaram, which is where he is from. And then this is published in by the Fahimiyya group, Murshid Khaja Fahimullah Shah. His students retyped it and they published it again. Hopefully we can do our own in the future. We already have the soft copy. We just need to edit it a bit and then put in the Arabic text, and we're good to go, inshallah. My grandfather, Kalimullah Shah, he tried to finish the commentary on this book, but wasn't fulfilled. Maybe we can also work on that, inshallah. So how are we going to do this? Number one, we're going to read the biography of Murshid Khaja Habibullah Shah a bit. and I will try and explain whenever needed. Number two, we'll just start reading, just reading. If at any point of time I need help, you'll just help me lah. Any one person can continue to read for me. Yeah, that's most so while I take the rest. And then after that, when it comes to Zuhur, we'll stop for Zuhur, and then we'll take a short break, and then we'll continue right after that to finish the whole book, inshallah. At the end of the book, we'll recite, if we have time, one silsila, and then the dua, and then we'll make dua based on the blessing of this book, and then we'll give a ijazah that all of you have listened this book, inshallah, and that's for you as a way that we're connected. Of course, after your bay'ah, you already have the ijazah for all of this, but it's just revisiting it, reaffirming it again, inshallah. As the one that is listening, what should we be doing? Listen, that's it. That's the most important thing, and be in a state of tasawwur. Yani constantly in a state of tasawwur. Allow Murshid's words, yani Khaja Habibullah Shah's words, to really sink deep. No need for you to analyze. What is Murshid saying? No need. Just tasmi', listen. This is not a class for you to analyze. This is just a class for us to sami'na wa ata'na, and to listen and to obey what Murshid said. So it's a training for us to just listen. That's most important. And then maybe another day we can go through this Faizul Habib. This one might take a bit longer lah, but it's still important. This is another important book from Raja Habibullah Shah. Okay, without further ado, with all of our Murshid's blessing, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'll read the biography of Khaja Habibullah Shah, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Khadra al-Hajj Khaja Habibullah Shah, Chishtiul Qadriya, Naqshbandiyya, Sohrawardiya, Sanusiya, Wasalasila Arba'ina, Qaddasallah Sirrahul Aziz. So when we mention his name, recite Qaddasallah Sirrahu, or when we mention the name of Sahaba, all of the things that are needed to make dua with it, inshallah. Hazrat al-Hajj, Khaja Habibullah Shah, Qaddasallah Sirrahul Aziz, was born in India to Abdul Hamid and Ahmad Begum. He was the Grand Master of all 43 Sufi orders, and who had thousands of murids all over the world. Before he passed away, or before he left this world, this temporal world, he left almost 5 million rupees worth of properties to be spent on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. During his lifetime, he established the Khanqa Habibiyah. There is pictures of it. For those who have been there, I can share the pictures again, inshallah. And a madrasa at Kudalur district of Qatar Manargudi. This is where his Murshid, Khaja Arifullah Shah's Rawdah is. So Khaja Habibullah Shah, Qaddasallahu Sirrul Aziz, where his Murshid's Rawdah is, he constructed the Khanqa. The Khanqa Habibiyah. So the first Khanqa is at Kudalur district, Qatar Manargudi, which is about quite a drive from Paranipati, where our Murshid Wajihullah Shah is. You see, so from there to Kudalur, about 2 hours, about 2 hours, yeah, right. And then that's where Qatar Manargudi is. That's where he constructed the Khanqa. Now, after the parda of Khaja Habibullah Shah, Khaja Wajihullah Shah continued to take care of the Khanqa of Habibiyah. So until today, monthly, there are still majlis from the lineage of Wajihullah Shah at the Khanqa of Habibullah Shah. So they continue to do khidmah for the Murshid of their Murshid. Understand? Something for us to take note. And our Murshid Khaja Wajihullah Shah, Aziz, was also mainly responsible in reconstructing back our expansion of the Khanqa and also the madrasa of Khaja Habibullah Shah. So one day, inshallah, we can go there. Inshallah. In fact, the urus of Khaja Arifullah Shah happens in Shawwal as well. So I think Murshid Anwarullah might be going up. Allahu Alam. and had written several books in Urdu, Tamil, and English. So Khaja Habibullah Shah, Qadasullah Sallallahu Aziz, had written many books in Urdu, Tamil, and in English. Most notable among them is Faizul Habib. This is one. Okay. And there are many other murids who build madrasas, masajids, instead majalis, named after him all over the world. So there are other books as well. In one, Irshad al-Habib, Suluk al-Habib, Awrad al-Habib, Suluk wa Awrad al-Habib, the Salasila Arba'in, and then we have the Faizul Habib and Spiritual Message of Islam. Some treaties are small. Some treaties are only about a few pages, like the Suluk Habib. So Suluk Habib talks about how does a salik travel from Nasud until they reach Jabarut, Hahut, Lahut, etc. And the zikr needed. So it's only a few pages, which has been translated into Malay and in English as well. So the Suluk al-Habib is found in this. Here, this is my grandfather's silsila book lah. So this is Suluk al-Habib. La ilaha illa Allahu. And that's it. It's until here. That's the Suluk al-Habib. That's all. Because it talks about the Nasud. So when you have that, you're supposed to go through that process, not just learning it lah. The zikr and all with your murshid. That's what we're doing. We're adding that into the necklace of, that is being added in already. So when we release the silsila book, you will have that in English already ready for you, inshallah. Okay. So it's one of the main, there are many important books from our Murshid Khaja Habibullah Shah. And the most important part about our Murshid is that he condensed all of these books from Parsi, from Arabic, and from Urdu, and from Tamil, and he condensed it for us in English. So when we read, example, Miratul Asrar, there is just one of his references. There are many other references that Murshid has done, and he's put it into this book. Okay. His spiritual quest, greatness and fame of the Chishti Qadri order reached new heights by the birth of our Grand Sheikh Al-Hajj Khaja Habibullah Shah, Qadasullah Sallallahu Aziz. He was born in India, born to a devout and saintly family. His father, Abdul Hamid, and his mother, Ahmad Begum, named him Abdul Ra'uf Sahib. Qadasullah Sallallahu Aziz. And so his name is Abdul Ra'uf. Abdul Ra'uf. And how did he get the title Khaja Habibullah Shah? It was given to him by his murshid when he received the silsila. So when he received the silsila, his name becomes Khaja Habibullah Shah. We'll talk more about the titles later. You have this, the biography is here. I'm just reading and commenting where I feel needed. I'm hoping for our Murshid Anwarullah Shah to come up with his biography, any Khaja Habibullah Shah's biography, inshallah. At an early age, Khaja Habibullah Shah Qadasullah Sallallahu Aziz inclined towards religious knowledge, pursued Islamic education, and mastered the sciences of Quran, Hadith, and other Islamic fields. He also mastered Parsi, Urdu, Tamil, and English. By the age of 14, he was already famous for his knowledge and piety. So by the age of 14, he was really mashhur. He was someone who is practicing the deen, etc. And Hazrat Al-Hajj, Khaja Habibullah Shah Qadasullah Sallallahu Aziz, was naturally drawn to spirituality. And that spiritual attraction brought him to the hands of his Sufi Sheikh of his time, Qutb al-Irshad, Hazrat Khaja Arifullah Shah, Chishti al-Qadri Qadasullah Sallallahu Aziz of Qatar Manargudi, Chindabaram district, South India, Tamil Nadu. Hazrat Al-Hajj Khaja Habibullah Shah Qadasullah Sallallahu Aziz was only 14 when he got initiated into the Sufi order. Now, this is something which is very important for us to look at because they don't waste time now, basically. So first things first, it is not easy to be accepted then. It's not easy to be accepted by a sheikh to take bay'ah then. Okay. Number two, what more if you're young? Because you might seem, you might not be taken seriously whether are you going to be serious about the path, or is this going to be just for a while, like that kind of thing. But through the kashaf of his murshid and his own uncle, he knew that Khaja Habibullah Shah Qaddasallahu Aziz would be someone who is very, very important in the silsila and spreading the silsila throughout. So this was an important step that was done by Khaja Qutb al-Tamkin, Khaja Arifullah Shah, that he held the hand of Khaja Habibullah Shah. If not, we won't all be here today. You get that one important act that happened when Khaja Habibullah Shah is 14 years old, and now we're talking more about almost 80, 90 years down the road, almost 100 years, we are benefiting from his bay'ah, mashallah. You see? He was trained throughout his life. Khaja Habibullah Shah Qaddasallahu Aziz served his master with absolute devotion. Now there's a lot of stories that happen between Khaja Arifullah Shah and Khaja Habibullah Shah. Inshallah, one day we'll get Musha Anwarullah to share with us as well. He was trained under his master for many years until he acquired perfect gnosis and mastered various Sufi sciences, which means he understood the theory and the practice of tasawwuf and tariqah. Nowadays, people study tasawwuf. They don't necessarily have tariqah. And even if they do tariqah, the sciences of tariqah is just very outward, doesn't bring you within. So imagine at the age of 14 until he became his Khalifa at the age of 23. So for about 14 to 23, about 11 years. 9 years. 9 years he was at the feet of his sheikh, and after that he was also given in marriage his murshid's own daughter, thus becoming his son-in-law as well. So this was a common practice back then. If you have a good murid and you have a daughter, you marry them off And it's important. Why? Because both the husband and the wife would be, and this is not only our murshid, many mashayikh. That's why I say it's a common practice. But for us today, we see it like, oh, weird this, but you want someone good. And what more if you've trained your own son-in-law? You get what I'm trying to say now? You've trained your own son-in-law, you give it to your own, mashallah, this is a beautiful union in that sense, if one might say. And the daughter being brought up as the daughter of a what? Of a murshid, and this one is his own murshid, mashallah, beautiful union. May our family also receive such blessings, inshallah. Becoming the master of 43 silsilas. So at 23, our Murshid Khaja Habibullah Shah got nikah with his daughter, and until today his family is still around. He did not have a son, so he had daughters, and then their daughters have children. So some of their grandsons and all still continue at the Khanqa of Khatam Budi of Khaja Arifullah Shah. So Khaja Arifullah Shah, one of his son or nephew, I might get it wrong, I need to check back with Murshid, received the caliphate from Khaja Habibullah Shah. So there was a very close relationship in the family as well. And Khaja Habibullah Shah Qaddasallahu Aziz, some of his grandchildren and all are still at the Khanqa of Khaja Arifullah Shah. There was one beautiful incident when we were there, and this is sidetrack, it's not his, it's part of his life story, where the Khanqa Habibiyah is, Khanqa of Khaja Habibullah Shah is, there was one murid of Khaja Habibullah Shah Qaddasallahu Aziz went to dug up like a hole because he think that his sheikh is going to be buried there. His Murshid say first, number one, when Khaja Habibullah Shah says, what makes you think I'll be buried here? He was very angry because it's wrong of Murids to think, oh, when my sheikh dies. It's very wrong for Murids to think like that. Oh, when my sheikh dies, how am I? Then don't take a sheikh. Because the sheikh doesn't die. What you should be thinking about is, how can I connect with my Murshid? That's your job. You get what I'm saying? As Murids, that's the job. Not to think about when my sheikh died, that kind of thing. So Khaja Habibullah Shah returned and he was very furious. He says, you have no right to be doing this. And what makes you think that I'll be here? So it already goes to show how Khaja Habibullah Shah knows his life in and out. And how fortunate are we that Khaja Habibullah Shah is not resting. He's still doing his work, I believe, very much. And in his rawdah, it's just change of, how do I say this? Intiqal, move from one alam to another. That's it. He's still doing his work as a murshid. In fact, as a murshid to many of the mashayikh. So you must have understanding. People of tariqah must have that understanding. Becoming the master of 43, Al-Hajj Khaja Habibullah Shah Qaddasallahu Aziz worked in R.E. Muhammad Qasim and Company in Tanjai district, South India, as a manager. It was during this time that he met with the ocean of knowledge, Qutb al-Tamkeen, Hadrat Khaja Khair Muhammad Sahib Siddiqui Miruti Qaddasallahu Aziz. So this was while he was working in Tanjai district, who gave him further spiritual training and raised his spiritual status to even higher degrees, mashallah. Now this is between them lah. It's not for us to judge, oh, Khaja Arifullah Shah didn't do what enough. It's wrong for us to think like that. In fact, this is for mashayikh themselves. We just take it and we have full of adab for it. Yeah. Because nowadays when we live in a time, oh, maybe that one not so good, now better. Avoid thinking like that, because in journey of tariqah, only the saliks know and their murshids know. It is not for us to judge. In fact, it is seen as an honor that that the journey of the sheikh continues even more, which means Allah opens up more for him. We should see it as that way. Because I know in tariqah culture today, people are comparing. Oh, this, then that, and that sheikh did better, this sheikh not so good. This is not a product. You get what I'm saying? Stop looking at it as a product. Khaja Habibullah Shah Qaddasallahu Aziz soon became an outstanding student of his and was given the caliphate to teach and to train aspirants of all 40 Sufi orders. So from Khaja Arifullah Shah Qaddasallahu Aziz, our murshid has 2 silsila, and each Chishti and Qadri. And then from Khaja Khair Muhammad Sahib Siddiqui Miruti, he received the other 43 silsilas. So altogether, our murshid has 45. If you were to include maybe the Sanusi as well, it'll be 46, mashallah. You're connected in 46 silsila. And in the silsila kitab as well, in fact, the front part talks about his life as well. You would see there is some of our silsila includes silsila Qadriya, Qadriya Mukhtalifa Shakhiya, silsila Chishtiya Nizamiya, Chishtiya Mukhtalifa Shakhiya, and then Kalandariya, Naqshbandiya, Mudariya, Suhrawardiya, Uwaisiya, Sanusiya, and even we have Shatariya inside as well. Shatari. So these are all from the 40 silsilas of Khaja Qutb al-Tamkeen. Pir Khair Muhammad Siddiqui. So from him, the two silsilas that our Murshid added into our 5 silsilah is Naqshbandi and Sohrawardi. So before Khaja Habibullah Shah on top, you see a split lah. One from Khaja Arifullah Shah, another one from Pir Khair Muhammad Siddiqui, and then it goes up again. And then of course you have Sayyid Murtada, that's the Sanusi. So three main mashayikh that give to Khaja Habibullah Shah, and that's how we received it. You are now, and then his sheikh once said to Khaja Habibullah Shah, you are now nominated as the spiritual master of India, Khaja-e Khajagan. So first was just Khaja, then it was received Khaja-e Khajagan, Khaja to all of the Khaja, masters of Mashayikh. Or in Arabic, it be Sheikhul Mashayikh. Sheikhul Mashayikh. This is in Parsi, Khaja-e Khajagan. You'll be the king of the 2 oceans, Khuddu Alam, of the 2 oceans. And you will be the wasila for 3 countries. That means through him, the 3 countries, he is the main representative or the kutub for his time, and still is. For us, we still believe, people might contest, but we still believe he's the kutub. For us, India, Singapore, and Malaysia. It's called Ravi Marithul Habibullah Shah. Hence, with the blessings of Qutub al-Tamkin, Hadrat Khaja Khair Muhammad Sahib Siddiqui Miruti Qaddasallahu Aziz, our Grand Sheikh remains as the wasila for these 3 countries. Hence, he achieved the title of Khaja-e Khajagan, Khaja Quddu Alam, Khidru Tariqat wal Ma'rifat. So, Khidrul here comes from the root word Khidr, because of the Uwaisiyah. That means he can receive without the intermediaries. Tariqat wal Ma'rifat, not only Tariqah, but also to the level of Ma'rifat. Hazrat means presence. Al-Hajj, Khaja Habibullah Shah. Chishti, Qadri, Naqshbandi, Sohrawardi, Sanusi, wa Salasila Arba'in, Qaddasallahu Aziz. Why we have Chishti first? Because Chishti is our main lineage, and Qadri after that. So these 2 are connected. And where do they meet? Under who? You tak baca ke silsilah? Arifullah Shah, no. So we revise back. From Khaja Habibullah Shah to Khaja Arifullah Shah, and he received it from Sayyid Abdul Qadir Hussaini, who received it from Hadrat Khaja Sayyid Shamsuddin Hussaini Chishti al-Qadri or Sahib Badshah Sahib Qaddasallahu Aziz, who received it from Arifi Kamil Ashkil Wasil Khaja Sayyid Jamaluddin Hussaini Chishti al-Qadri or Bari Khaja Sahib Qaddasallahu Aziz, who received it from Sayyid, and he is the one, Sayyid Jamaluddin Hussaini Chishti al-Qadri. So, Khaja Habibullah Shah, Khaja Arifullah Shah, Khaja Sayyid Abdul Qadir, and then Sayyid Hussaini, and then Sayyid Jamaluddin. So, it's 4 lineages up. There is the first person, or the first sheikh, the first murshid, then the 2 silsilah combined. Understand? So if you were to do a 3, then you go like, oh, mashallah. So in terms of ziyarah, we should go until at least the first Chishti Qadri. This we should make our ziyarah inshallah. Can plan with you. If I'm not mistaken, it's still in South India, but it's not in Tamil Nadu, it's further up. So from our Murshid Paringpati goes up to Kudala district, and then it goes up again. Said Said Abdul Qadir. So from then it goes up, further up, further up. So the lineage actually goes further up until it reaches north, and then it passes through. It goes back to Iraq, Gudur area, and then it goes back to Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So you can do a kembara. You get what I'm trying to say? Jejak Aulia kind of thing. It's important. We should visit our mashaykh. Because if not, we only think it's in Singapore. You know, we have a rich history. So can you imagine the work, the immense work Khaja Habibullah Shah Aziz has done? So we need to connect ourselves with him. That's most important. Yeah? Another important event that further elevated his spiritual standing was in Mecca during his Hajj trip in 1959. At Haram Sharif, he met Grand Sheikh of the Sanusi order, Hadrat Sayyid Murtada Sani, Sheikh Abdul Ma'booth, that's his name, Asadullah Shah, where both men exchanged their views with philosophy, with tasawwuf and tariqah. And then both Sayyid Murtada Sani took bay'at from Khaja Habibullah Shah, who in turn made him the Khalifa for all of the 40 silsila from Sayyid Murtada, who made him the Khalifa of the Sanusi silsila. The bay'ah here is not bay'ah as murid, but the bay'ah as a Khalifa. You understand? Khaja Habibullah Shah is the 40th link in the Qadri order, 44th link, and it means the 44th name in the Chishti order, 36th name order in Suharawati. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Khaja Habibullah Shah Qaddasallahu Aziz is the major nexus in 16 branches of Qadri order.